Sean Capri, and welcome to We the GamerCast. It publishes pretty much every Monday here at youtube.com/carpoolgaming and podcast services in your eardrums. Thank you guys so much for being here, for telling your mom, for telling your dad, for telling your friends, for telling for hitting somebody up you haven't talked to in a long time, saying, hey, long time no see. Have you listened to We the GamerCast? Have you done this yet? Have you searched it on the YouTubes? If you're here, give the video a like, leave a comment below. Just give us some of that sweet algorithm juice. We haven't talked about that Al Gore rhythm in quite some time. Of course, I talk about Al Gore having just visited the lovely United States of America. What am I talking about, you guys? Oh my God, I'm getting a little ahead of myself because if you're new, here's the deal. Every week I have sweet hangs with a stranger or a longtime friend from the internet, and we talk about life and video games. And if you want to be on the show, you can tweet at me at Sean Capri, Sean like Connor, Capri like the pants. We're on the home stretch. The end of 2022 is coming. Have you checked in on those New Year's resolutions? Has anybody even talked about this? I'm seeing a lot of talk about nonsense on the internet. Okay, we're all mad at something else, but have you looked at your resolutions? I don't know if that sounded. I didn't mean it to sound preachy. I don't know why the New Year's. I haven't looked at mine. Just to be honest with you, I have no idea. I feel like I went general this year. But maybe that'll be something I check in and at the end of the episode. Maybe that'll be like a little, cause you know how I do this. I do this part of this. And then last night I talked to my good friend Justin Masson from the Nintendo Dads, who is on the show today. You saw the title of the episode. And the biggest reason that I wanted to talk to Justin, is cause we were in Rome, New York last week together. I could have called up nearly anyone, but honestly, I didn't plan ahead. I was really focused on just surviving last weekend, and I barely did so. But we've got a lot to cover here, and you guys saw, anybody listening to this, I can't imagine if you're just waltzing in right now. Although, let me know, is this your first episode? I want to hear from you. Leave a comment in the YouTube, or tweet at me at Sean Capri, Sean like Connor, Capri like the pants. I want to know if you're brand new, then welcome in. But I've been talking about Extra Life for many, many months. We did it. The Carpool Gaming Trophy Room Save the Game Media conglomerate. We raised over $9,000. We have lots to celebrate. And so today I wanted to chat with Justin and unpack this a little bit. Lots happened, man. So you'll get kind of like an inside scoop, and we go on a journey on this. Of course, to start things out, I've already edited the part that you're going to listen to, which is kind of rare. Usually I do it later, but that's too much behind the curtain. I'm going to read to you some of the parts of this Canadian Tire Christmas flyer that I had that came in the mail. I've been traveling a lot lately. I was in Chicago the week before. I was in New York last week. I am now home, but my goodness gracious, my mailbox was jam-packed, including this flyer from Canadian Tire, not sponsored, although, you know what? I'd be sponsored by Canadian Tire. That'd be pretty good. But, so enjoy that. That is coming up. Quick shout out to the Backtrackers, which is the video game book club. And they're getting together next Saturday. That's the 19th, actually, or this coming Saturday, for if you're on the free feeds, the 19th at 11 a.m. Eastern time. And they're talking about Sayonara, Wild Hearts, Tetris Effect Connected, and Gris. It's French for gray, so you don't pronounce the S, okay? So that's, you're not supposed to, everybody says Grease, but it's not like the John Travolta, Olivia Newton-John thing. It's much more beautiful, if I do say so myself. So jump on into the Discord. Amazing things are happening over there. And the other thing that's amazing is everybody who supports us at patreon.com/carpoolgaming. And I want to say thank you to our ultimate producers, Mr. Robby Bobby Miller. I got to hang out with you at Rome in New York, twitch.tv/ is it Robby Bobby Miller Smooth? Oh, I should have looked that up. I'm sorry, Robby Bobby Miller. We'll get you sorted out there, my friend. Trucker Sloth, Tony Baker from Quest for Pixels. They've got new episodes going up, so check them out at youtube.com/quest4pixels. Dallas Ford, the co-host of The Blame Game, and Johnathan Brown with his new EP from PME called Gems. It's available on Spotify and Apple Music and wherever you get you music. And maybe at HMV. JB, can we get your music at HMV? Do you even know what HMV is? Some of you, if you know, you know. Lee Navarro, the fearless leader of the Phoenix Overdrive Extra Life team. We saw each other last week. He did an amazing job. Just you'll hear all about it. And so please, everybody, support all of our ultimate producers. That's the best way for you to support this show, is to support them. That's a great way to do it. Platinum producers Marcus McCracken and RJ Kern, and all of our gold members, Anna, Cecily Carrozza, Dallas Robbins, Drellish, Emily O'Kelly, Foolish Fuji, Jose Jimenez, Marcus O'Neill, Skinny Matt, and the Snack Network. I would otherwise be, thank you guys so much, 80 patrons over there. And if you would like to support the show, you can go to patreon.com/carpoolgaming, just like Sheldon Benedict. Welcome back. It's been a while, my friend. Travis Hansen Pollock, and welcome to the exclusive tier, my good friend, John 32. Got good things going on over here. We're going on to the near end of the year here. Tons of content on the Patreon, I gotta say, and a bunch of reviews. We're keeping up, man. Everybody else is. I'm barely hanging on, but you'll get to know exactly why that is with my conversation here with Justin Masson, and I think that's gonna be it. I think we should just do this. So why don't we go ahead and talk to Justin Masson. He's from the Nintendo Dads, by the way. I feel like everybody knows this, but maybe I shouldn't assume. Justin Masson, one of the founding members of the Nintendo Dads, one of the OG podcasts. Many of us owe our podcasting existence to the Nintendo Dads. I've known Justin for a very long time. Here's our story for Extra Life 2022. Enjoy, my good friend and yours, Mr. Justin Masson. Oh, he's gone. Okay, well, in the meantime, I was just going to read this Canadian Tire flyer that I got in the mail. Let's see. There's a treadmill. Don't think I want one of those. Why? Just go to the gym. They have that and more at the gym. RCA television set at Canadian Tire. You get a row machine. An indoor bicycle. Again, that's tempting, but just go to the gym. Probably should make sure we have lots of de-icer at this point. Probably even too late for that. Look at these Christmas trees. 7.5 feet, regular $1,500. You can get it now. When was it $1,500 though? If not, like when else would you buy this? If not now. And 7.5 feet. I mean, I guess that would be tall. That's the biggest one here. 7.5. Couple sevens. It's probably as big as you'd really need. Oh, classic Etch-a-Sketch.
Hey, you know what's fun? Can you hear me?
Hang on a sec. Are you interrupting me right now? I'm reading the Canadian Tire flyer.
I appreciate you.
So you can hear me now.
You know what fun is when you forget to turn up the volume on your headphones.
Shut up. Is it plugged in?
Do I feel stupid?
It happens. It happens.
I don't use Discord that often. I'm actually trying to find a bit. Okay, what's going on here? There's the view I'm looking for.
There we go.
That's what I'm looking for.
I think this year might be the year I get a snowblower.
Really? You guys got a lot up there?
Got a lot of snow. I don't really need one. Like, we've gone this long. Oh? I don't really. And I actually don't like gas-powered anything. Like lawnmowers, etc. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I was just running through the Canadian Tire
as you
flyer. Do. It's that time of year. Yes. This is like the old Sears catalog. Do you
remember? Like, those were great, right? The old Christmas Sears catalog when they showed up. Like, how awesome was that?
That's what dreams were made out of.
Right? You'd go to the back section and you'd find the toy section, right? And I would just like rip pages off.
Oh,
right? and just like circle and be
Violent.
Like,
why rip the pages out? You gotta keep the pages in there. Then
I could just fold them. I could circle them, fold them, and give them to my mother, and be like, "These are the things. Put them in your purse."
But then the pages are missing. What if there's something else you're like looking through? Actually, I feel like we were in a similar situation because there's a table of contents at the beginning of it, of course, and so you're looking for a certain thing. You're flipping through, and you're like, this son of a bitch, Justin Masson, is what your mom or dad would say.
They would always, yes, they 100% say, you son of a bitch, Justin Masson.
Justin Masson.
That's exactly what they would say. Yeah.
Well, actually, I mean, maybe not far off. I don't know what your middle name is, but maybe they threw the whole like the middle name when you're really in trouble.
I mean, that's when you knew you were in trouble.
Yeah.
Like that was the indicator, the level of trouble. Right?
We gave our kids too many names. They have too many middle names. Yeah.
Too many middle names, which implies they have more than one.
They have two middle names. I have two middle names.
Oh, where does that stem from?
You know, indecisive, capri nature. What can I
like is there some family connection? Like everyone has the following middle name.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know where before. I don't know anybody else who has the two in there, but like we all have some sort of like family name as one of them. But I don't know. Oddly enough, my brother's middle names were a colleague of mine, his full name, his first name and last name. It was very strange.
Really?
Yep.
Very interesting.
Mr. Andrew Gregory. Very good man. Yeah, in that order too.
Our daughters both have very unisex first names. So we made sure that the middle name was very predominantly female sounding.
Yes.
Right. Nowadays would be the pronouns she or her. It would be associated with that. But that we made sure of
you were
that.
very progressive.
I mean, I would say no, not deliberately.
Yeah, that's just part of who you are.
It was just more of they were very neutral names that we felt the middle name should be a little bit more definitely female. Claire and Noelle are the middle names, right? So those are definitely female names for sure.
I think so.
You say that, and then there's somebody who's listening who's like, my first name is Claire, and I'm a male. And you're like, well, I don't know what to tell you.
Nice going, Justin.
Right? Insensitivity.
2 minutes in, people are just absolutely...
No, I'm batting 10 for 10 right now, right?
Yep.
Not learn how to turn on my headphones.
Doing okay. Hey, we've been doing this for long enough to forget how to do it.
Oh, my gosh.
You know?
Too long some days, I think.
Too long. Time to maybe step aside and let the kids take it on over. The Nintendo kids.
I mean, like the Nintendo pals, right? They feel young. They feel youthful.
They do feel youthful. They're just full of energy and ideas.
Like there's stuff that you and I are not even thinking of. Like walking around an entire day in a Tingle outfit. My first thought is like, I'm not an age where spandex looks good on me at all.
No, right? It definitely doesn't.
I'm like, I'm not doing that.
I have a onesie. I have an Xbox onesie that I had in my suitcase, and I removed it. I chose against it. I changed my mind.
Yeah, you did say. Well, I mean, you implied that perhaps it was getting a little too snug in some regions.
Well, I felt like it was. Yeah, we're just talking. About the
can you get
thing.
Xbox to hook me up with a onesie? Because I'd be all about a onesie.
Are you the Xbox dads? Xbox onesie was because
I've got an Xbox now. I've got an Xbox now. I'm playing it this week.
That's true. But the pun is the Xbox One. This is a generation ago. Like nobody liked Xbox last generation. But
does
Xbox
anybody
One
like it now?
Z. I think so. I think at least a couple people like it.
That is a great pun. I didn't put that together.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure we paused on that for a second before we.
That's a good one.
Yeah, I thought that was really good. Good onesie. Yeah.
Onesie.
I don't know what they like. They do fridges now, I guess.
I'll take it. Well, the results I've seen on those fridges may not be supportive of that idea.
Might have been an internet meme turned into an actual product. Those don't
right.
Don't
that may have not fully someone fully thought that one out.
Yeah, not all the R&D in the world. I don't think.
No, I appreciate that though.
I want to know like what the other options were for how these. I really in any console. Like, what were the other options? What were the shapes? What were the designs?
Yeah. Do you start with the shape? Like, was that the thing you start with?
What else do you start with? I
don't know. Like I mean, or is it this is what we want it to do? Then how do we get it fit?
Oh, I think that's probably where you start.
Because I feel like if you look at the PlayStation, no artistry was given to that. It was, can I make it as ugly and as large and as oddly shaped as possible? Having not seen a PlayStation 5 in the wild before until Extra Life this last week and seeing several of them, my commentary was, God, that's an ugly thing.
Yeah, it is.
Like it is. Now, I appreciate the power that's under it, the horsepower, the blah, blah, blah. Man, that thing is just god-awful.
It really is. It reminds me, actually, of the original Xbox. Like, the original Xbox at the time was very, very not very pretty at all. And everybody commented on it. It was a reason not to get it.
Yeah. I think right now, like this Series S, it's sitting on my desk, this corner right over here.
Yeah.
It's a slick looking console. It's
nice.
nice. It's not too cumbersome, right? It easily fits behind my monitor here. Like if you didn't know it was in the room, you wouldn't know.
Yeah.
Right. And for what's under the hood, let me tell you, I'm shocked. Right. And then on my left hand side, I've got my Nintendo Switch OLED. That's a slick looking console. Looks nice.
I love the kickstand.
Right?
Underrated. People don't talk about this kickstand enough.
Good kickstand.
Good
that was
kickstand.
One of the best,
Great kickstand.
That was one of the best improvements for the high value that they asked more money for.
It should actually be called the Nintendo Switch Better Kickstand Edition. Drop the OLED. Better kickstand edition. That's what you pay the extra dollars
the
for.
commercial, they spent a lot of time really leaning in on that thing too, on that kickstand.
It's good. I'm not, dude. It sounds like I'm joking. That kickstand's a real deal. Like you go back to the original kickstand. What a pile of garbage that is.
Yeah.
Yeah, they really
you wouldn't trust it. You wouldn't trust it with your. We went back and watched the original like launch commercial a couple episodes ago, and he like sits in the airplane, he kicks the kickstand out. We were all like, "Wow, that does not actually happen in real life because that thing broke so quickly."
Remember the first time somebody took a video of the kickstand was out, but then they slid the switch into the dock, and the kickstand just like snaps off, and you're like,
"Snap!
How did they not think of this?" Well, it goes back in real easy. That's how.
You go.
Nintendo's smarter than that.
I don't know.
Sometimes smarter than that specific thing.
Yes. Yeah.
So you're not getting a PlayStation anytime soon? Nintendo Dad's Justin Masson?
No, I'm not. Listen, this whole Xbox thing was a real stretch as well. I've been debating it on the fence so many times about it. And then Tim just turned out to be an amazing person. He said, "Listen, I got two in my house and I'm not really using one of them.
That's amazing.
But you may as well borrow it from me." It's like a try before you buy period.
You don't deserve him.
We don't. You know what? We in general don't.
No, like you specifically. Like Jesse probably deserves him more.
I'm a bit of a taskmaster for sure, right? And I probably don't say thank you enough. But I'm
sure you do.
I will also say, in regards to the shockingly enough, how small it was to get back to Canada was pretty easy.
Oh, good for you.
Oh my gosh! Like I just fit on my carry-on. I was like, this is. On the
I thought you were making fun of my travels.
No, what happened to you?
Oh, I had a canceled flight in Calgary, so I was stuck in Calgary overnight, and a lot of note taking on what to do differently for next year. I'm not gonna lie. It was like, oh my gosh, it was just so long. My
travel. How long was your travel day in the end?
Well, the thing is, I wanted to part of it is what is it, self-inflicted. So I see everything that Lee puts into this thing, and just like it's more than just that weekend. It's more than the week before. It's all year. So just a ton of work. So one thing that I realized in 2019 that happens is we all wrap up and everybody says thanks and pieces out. And I'm like, I got to help them at least pack up this stuff because it's a whole day of tearing down and everything. So I didn't rush out of there at all. Like my train back to New York City was something like 4 or 5 o'clock that night. So the Sunday night. Yeah. So the idea was supposed to be tear down, hang out, just extend the stay just a little bit, train back to New York City, overnight there, fly home the next day. But by the time, we're not really going to sleep even after the stream is done. So it carries on over into Sunday, get maybe an hour or so on the train before your body's just like, I'm not sleeping on a chair like this. I maxed out, as it turned out, on planes and trains and various automobiles. An hour, 90 minutes was about as much sleep as I was really getting at a time. And the hotel that Jason and I checked into on Sunday night was one of the worst I've ever been to.
No.
Just horrible. We tried 2 rooms. We're like, we are out of here. So hopefully I'm getting my money back on that one. Jason ended up checking in at a hotel on Times Square, and I'm like, I'm just going to go to the airport and I'll figure it out from there. So I legit slept on the floor for a couple hours until the people showed up. Then I could actually get my bags checked. And I just kept going, man. I just kept not sleeping into Monday. Flew from New York to Toronto to Calgary, and then I got stuck in Calgary because of the weather and overnighted there. And when they told me that the flight was canceled, and they're like, we have an option for you. You can go Calgary to Vancouver to Edmonton, and you'll land at 1 a.m. I almost started crying. I almost started weeping in front of a grown adult. It was, wow. I was just totally done. Completely just beyond, push myself beyond anything I could ever I could ever imagine.
Yeah, it's funny. Like I remember, being younger and like doing stupid 24-hour things, and all that, and just being able to bounce back. But now, as a man who's over the age of 40, I will tell you, and just for full transparency, behind the magic of the podcast world, today is November 11th. It's Friday. We're recording this on a Friday. I only felt sort of normal yesterday, which was Thursday.
Same.
And it was like at one point during the week, my wife looked at me and said, I don't know who this person is, but it's not my husband.
Yeah.
And so
it was hard.
I'm excited to see when he comes back. I did my travel day. I was not delayed, although I was anticipating, because WestJet, I don't know if we were there. I got a token. I got a weird text from WestJet, was like, your thing got rescheduled. Here's a free meal voucher. And I was like, I'm sorry, what?
Oh man, I did Air Canada. No good.
And I'm scrolling through trying to find out there's some weird system outage. So I'm like, I don't really know. I have 2 WestJet flights. I have no idea whether this is actually going to happen or not.
Right.
So I left Rome at Skinny Matt drove me to after we packed the vehicles up. Skinny Matt drove me to the train station. I had a 10:30 train from Rome to New York City, where I slept. I think I slept through one full episode of the Kind of Funny podcast. I know that, so it was about 60 minutes.
Yep.
And then got into New York. And I here's the thing, Sean. I was so delusional. I was like, maybe I can run back to the Nintendo store and pick up some stuff. And there was a moment I thought about that, and then I was like, I got out of the train station into like the middle of New York, right beside Madison Square Garden, and I went, I can't. My brain cannot comprehend if I need to and I have apps. I'm a smart man. I've traveled a lot. I know what these things are telling me, and my brain was not having any of it.
Yep.
I was like, my number one priority is I need to get to the airport.
Yes.
And if I'm there hours beforehand, that's fine. So I ended up finding a subway, taking the subway, and the struggle was real on that one. Let me tell you, I just the brain could not
that's too much.
Figure it out. As a matter of fact, a subway arrived, I was like, I need to get on the E train, and then I was like, I don't know for sure, and so I let that train pass me. And so I waited for another 10 minutes for another E train. I was like, this is 100% for sure. But on that, and then took that train to a bus, and then took the bus to the airport. And then I'm at the airport. I've checked in. I'm doing okay. And also at some point during that, I recognized I had lost my voice.
Oh yeah.
And it was they're like, where are you going, sir? And I was like, I'm going to Canada. I was like, oh my gosh, what is that? I don't know what's happened. And I also recognized that I hadn't eaten anything.
Yeah.
At any point in that day. It was I had a big Turk on a train ride, and that was it. And I was like, this is not going well.
Yeah.
I finally get to the airport, and I'm going to be going to Toronto. End up finding some food, paid I think it was $10 10 Canadian dollars for a slice of pizza.
Dude, when you get back to Canada and start paying Canadian prices, it's a good feeling. You're like,
yeah, for sure. And also, I had also not eaten so much that I was stupid enough. I was like, I will take 2 pieces of pizza.
Oh yeah.
And I recognized eating through one of them. I don't know why I bought a second one. I didn't need the second one, but I'm going to still eat the second one.
Yep.
I ate half of it, and then I felt like people were judging me, and I stopped eating it.
Stop.
So then I flew from New York into Toronto, and at this point, I still don't know if I'm making a flight. I don't know if WestJet has dropped the ball in Toronto. And we get there, and I end up looking at my connection time, and I have 1 hour to connect. I'm like, okay,
that was me going there.
You got to push. So I'm kind of zipping through, and of course, you're always stuck behind the person who's taking their sweet time.
Oh my god, dude! I
go
could talk
anywhere,
about
right?
People, what is wrong with people in airports?
How are you one person, but somehow you seem like a defensive line right now? How can I not get around you, little old lady who's 85 who smells like pasta? Just move,
like pasta.
So I get around her finally, and I'm just huffing it, and I'm like, I don't security could be anything. Through security, I'm like, awesome, and I'm like, I'm gonna run to the next gate, and I look, and the gate is right in front of me. It's like, sweet pearl. I'm happy as can be.
That's nice.
Grabbed a soda, grabbed a water, got on the flight, and I'm like, all right, it's a 4.5-hour flight from Toronto to Calgary.
Yeah.
Sean, I don't remember taking off in Toronto.
Yep, that's the way. I was talking to you guys about that.
I barely remember landing in Calgary. And I have never,
really nice.
in all of my 15 years of travel, ever done a actual sleep from Calgary to Toronto or Toronto to Calgary. I was done. Like,
wow.
And it was funny. So they had that voucher, right, that I got for free meal. Landing, I can't get a free meal now. It's gone.
Dang.
Well, oh dang. WestJet free food. I think I'm okay with the. Did you not hear the pizza and a half that I shamefully ate moments earlier? And then I was stupid, Sean. I landed in Calgary at 12:45 a.m.
Oh wow!
Collected all of my stuff.
Yeah.
Proceeded to change out of my shorts and t-shirt that I had been wearing for the day.
It's minus 30.
Because it's minus 30 outside, and like in a bathroom stall, put on boots, toque, pants, all of this. Head to my car. And I got in my car, Sean, and I drove 2.5 hours south
did not.
to Lethbridge, Alberta, where I rolled in at 5 a.m.
Oh, dude, I've been complaining all week. That actually sounds horrible. That sounds very not good.
That was the dumbest decision I ever made.
That explains the yesterday recovery time.
Yeah.
Honestly, like that puts us, I think, in a similar boat. Like, you know, and I think you and I are very similar in this. You go through it and you're just trying to get to the other side. You know, you're on survival mode a little bit, and then you go, what could I have done differently? What maybe next time, like maybe some notes for making that a little easier. And I'm unpacking a lot of that.
My wife was pretty clear. She was like, you should have stayed in Airdrie with your family, you dumbass. I was like, yeah, I probably should have. But at that point, I was so I just want to get home. I just want to sleep in my own bed.
Yeah.
Because sleep did not occur for the 3 to 4 days during this event.
That's true. That was also like it's self-inflicted because there's people are going to listen and think like, oh God, I want to stay the heck away from Extra Life. There's better ways to do this. There's better, especially. I mean, for us, we're Western Canada, so I think that's part of it. We're used to this whole thing. Anytime we fly to the East Coast, it's basically this deal. It's a raw deal. You're not really getting great times getting out there. You're coming home in the middle of the night because you lose 2 hours on the 4.5-hour flight back to Alberta. It's not very good. But maybe an extra day, give ourselves like a little extra rest time.
Because Wednesday night, I didn't sleep well. The nights I fly out, and I travel for work often enough, and I think you're probably like this. I don't know why, but I always sleep poorly. Like, I have every alarm set. I've never missed a flight, never been late. I'm the person who's like, the airport says arrive at 2 hours. I'm there at 2.5. Yeah. Like, I'm just that kind of person.
Yeah.
Never missed a flight. Well, sure, look, you were texting me because it was supposed to be 3:30, and I woke up at 3:30, go to the bathroom, and then you're like, have a good flight. I'm like, I'm actually sleeping until 9. Or my flight was later. So I didn't sleep well the night before. The night we're in New York, of course. I know you're having your horrible street nachos we'll talk about in a couple minutes. But of course, we've come off of episode 400. It's 2 o'clock in the morning. We're having some beers, right? It's great. We're so excited to be together. Then I crawl into a bed that was definitely made for a child. And my body did not fully fit. Then our place that we stayed in Rome, I was sure at some point we were probably going to get murdered.
Airbnb. Yeah.
Airbnb in Rome, where we got dropped off, and Lee looked at me and he's like, do you want to? Lee said to me, he's like, I was doing the math that they may have to stay at my house.
Yeah.
It was a sketchy scenario. And then I slept on the couch during our Extra Life stream.
I have pictures. I have pictures. Yeah. This is the thing that, like, and we're I guess along in our careers, we have a house over our head. We're well settled, and yet I don't know where, like, I can't bring myself to spend any more than the bare minimum on things like accommodations and stuff. I can't. I look at it like a hotel. That's how I ended up with the situation on Sunday night. And when I'm trying to get like second cheapest, the cheapest obviously not a great decision, but second least expensive is kind of where I'm. But like that's. So I come out of this going, I'm not. Why?
Yeah, why are you like?
I don't know.
Listen,
I don't know.
About 5 years ago, I was literally hanging out with some friends, some rugby guys. We were in London for a weekend away, and someone rented a hostel. ended up walking into this hostel, this room of 16 people.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is not happening.
Right.
And I literally turned to my friend and said, I make too much money and I am too old to do this shit.
Too old, really. Yeah.
We're not doing this. I was like, I was like, listen, y'all, this is 20 euros. Listen, I'll pay you the 60. We're getting a hotel room.
I know.
We'll figure this out. Like, we're not doing this.
And not just any hotel room. Like, this is my takeaway from it. Like, if it's not, and this is going to sound so hoity-toity. I know it, like, I'm going like Holiday Inn Express is like my minimum. Like, that's kind of where it's got to be
baseline.
Like a named hotel chain of some sort is where I walk out of this. Because that was my mistake with the hotel in New York City on Sunday night. Was some like Midtown convention. It was across the street from the Javits Center, which is where Comic-Con is over there. So I thought like this has got to be okay, and it was not. It was not okay, and not So gotta. It's just you're just trying to make Extra Life as inexpensive and easy as possible.
You
and
are
quick.
Yep.
But it's not good. Not good decisions.
No, there's a consequence, right? If you're not paying the cost financially, you're paying the cost physically.
Oh man, I really did.
Right?
Yeah.
If you want to write that down as a takeaway or as a quote for later, you can. I mean, you're welcome to it. Put it in your pocket, right? Save it for later.
I think padding on both sides. I think there's talk of like, what if we had like a couple of days or even a day before where we're recording content. Like where we're even like swapping in and out and like doing stuff together. Like we've got like space or like I don't know, just a table or something that we can record some stuff, hang out ahead of time. Because once Extra Life starts, you're streaming.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, I don't know about you. I wandered a lot. I really wandered between a lot of streams. I popped my head into a couple. I don't know. I was there so much, not only for our stream, which I think was great. Now I think our stream might be different. We've got 4 guys, right? So we're always covered, right? But I love the fact that I was able to like walk over to the snack network and hang out with Dave and have some snacks with him. And so I thought that was great. But I mean it's the setup there is incredible. Like I didn't know what to expect.
Where I felt like no matter where you wandered, that person's going to be streaming too.
Oh yeah, everyone's always streaming all the time, right? So you're going into somebody's stream,
right? And so it's not like we had a couple moments I think before. Obviously on Friday going to Nintendo New York, which was wonderful. But just I'm getting greedy at this stage because it always feels, and this was the same thing in last year and in 2019. Like you get there and then you're leaving, and it's like even though it's a really challenging 24 hours and you're just trying to get to the end before you know it, everybody's leaving and then it's done. And so I like. How do we expend it? How do we extrapolate as much as possible there? Maybe it's an extra day on either side. I don't know.
I think that would be great, right? And I mean this is obviously the Nintendo Dad's first time going to it, and it was an absolutely fantastic experience. I was shocked by it. I didn't know really what to expect. It was so much fun, but it was I think for us it was, and the thing that I realized is like there are people there that we have spent so much time on the internet creating content together to finally like be face to face, shaking hands, having drinks together. Like those are the moments that were like, wow, this is awesome.
Yeah.
Like we had a fantastic, we went to Applebee's for dinner with the Nintendo Dads, Nintendo Pals, and the Snack Network.
Thanks for the invite.
Listen, you were in your own hotel room, all right? We were trying not to get murdered at our Airbnb, all right? That was what we all did. I was dying.
Dude, you know how many people have come up to me like, you weren't looking so great.
Right, oh, like, you were.
And that was the end of the night. I'm like, that was my best. By the end of the day, that was like, I was on the mend. I was doing better by then, but yeah.
You were funny because, I mean, I last like hour when you guys were pushing for, I think it was 9,000.
Yeah.
I like tired, exhausted, and like you're literally, for those of you who don't know the setup or haven't seen the setup, like we were in front of your team. And like you're like, let's go. Mm-hmm. Like everyone's tired, exhausted, and I'm hearing Sean Capri, the back of my head, just let's go.
Yes.
I was like, I'm gonna turn around and I may stab you with this controller right now.
Yeah, who's anybody else tired? Anybody else like not in the mood for jubilation and just the guy who seems to be just like getting started, just getting warmed up, like not what you want to hear when you're at the tail end of a 24-hour
whoever
marathon. Just
gave him like a line of cocaine needs to go have a sit down.
I had half a Red Bull the whole time. That was it, dude. I didn't even finish it.
Really?
I mean, my whole system was still pretty trashed, but I felt good most of the time, which is crazy because the food poisoning, which we'll get to, not the best. So I'm sorry, I didn't realize I was maybe over the top. I mean, I knew it was being over the top.
Oh, it's like, listen, here's the thing I would say. Will sound odd. We have a job to do when we get there.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And our job is to bring the hype. Our job is to bring the energy. Our job is to bring a little bit of chaos, entertain people.
Agreed.
And to hopefully raise more money.
Yep.
Right. And so that I recognize is our job. So it was not a like, I want to murder you, but it was like, I hate you so much right now. I hate you so much, but I love you, but I hate you all at the same time.
Well, it's funny because that was a moment, and now you guys are you've had to pull in reinforcements or whatever you've had to do to keep the fundraising going. I'm very proud of you. Very cool.
Odd statement reinforcements. These are all people who are on our team.
It's all good.
Hey, listen.
Look, it's all good. Look, I'm trying.
Do you want to talk about that now, or do you want to like talk about your nachos first?
Well,
like, where do you want to go on this?
I want to talk. I want to say this, and then we'll do nachos because you get to be a hero in that story as well.
As well.
When we crossed over 9,000, I exploded. I had a bit of a reaction. I was very excited because I felt like you mentioned like we have a job to do. I felt like we did our job. Like I actually felt like we exceeded expectations. And that to me is probably one of the most like addicting parts about fundraising is like you're going to do better than you could ever imagine. And then you're going to do better than that. And then better than that even. And you guys are doing it right now because you're over $10,000. And I bet I don't know, maybe you did think, maybe I should pose more of a question, but I feel like that is a level that most of us never imagined that we would achieve. And you can do it, and you try hard, and you put your best out there, and you go out on a limb. It's scary to set big goals, but then you do it, and it feels amazing. And basically, once we did that, I felt like our work here is done, and I do regret saying that. I do regret that our work here is done, only because you guys kept going. So that's what I've got to say about that.
It was funny, and so for those of you who are watching, obviously on Twitter, Sean and the Nintendo dads and I were having this rivalry, which everyone like kind of thinks, oh my gosh, you guys actually hate each other. No, it's of course to spur each other on. Mm-hmm. It was funny. There was a point not too early on. I think you guys crossed. I think it was like $6,000. So you guys were you started the day pretty strong.
Oh yeah.
And so again, the setup was we were in front of you, you were behind. I got up and I came around and you said something along the lines of like, hey, look at us. We just passed $6,000. How is the Nintendo dads doing? Right. And of course, like, and for those of you that don't know, like in a lot of ways, when we are on a mic, this goes back to you have a job to do. We're a bit of a character. There is a bit of a character that we're playing. Right? And so Sean was very much on as a character. And it was this kind of like, oh, how are you guys doing? Oh, that's good. You guys have 3,000. That's so cute kind of motif. I said to you, Sean, this is a marathon, not a sprint. And you guys are sprinting right now. Mm-hmm. And you were like, let's go. Right? Your Mario jacket swinging around like a jackass. And I was like, all right, let's see what happens. Yeah. Now, let's go back to the original question. Did I think that we were going to reach 10,000? No, I'm going to be very honest with you. We set our 5,000. We have always been a $5,000 team. And that was fine. I had no issues with that, right? There's typically like myself, Marty, typically kind of carry a lot of that load. So we kind of set what we thought was appropriate, $5,000. We've always been $5,000, always like cracked over, 52, 53. And then when we ended up passing $5,000, I think we were about 5 or 6 hours into the stream, and we started okay. I think we started the day at 2,600, and we passed 5,000. I was like, well, let's. Well, actually, originally I think it was what was it? You guys were at 5. You set your goal at 5,000. Right?
Yeah, I wanted to go back to this. Your goal.
There it is. We go back, right? You set it at 5, so we went back and adjusted ours to 5,001.
Yeah.
Right. We were doing the Price is Right version, which was I just need $1 more to beat you guys. And you guys smashed it.
And I'm like, I see. Well, yeah.
Well, son of a gun. Now we've got to readjust, right? So you guys smash it. But we readjust to 6,000. I was like, I don't like, and you can feel energy drop. You can feel momentum. You can and you're like, we're not going to make it. And so slowly over the evening, we ended up crossing up to about 5,800, which was great. And so we're like, hey, there's a chance for 6. And just as we were closing off the stream, you sat down with me. We had a bit of a chat and a conversation, and you continued to help push, and we got to 6, which was amazing. I really kind of thought 6 was probably where we were going to end.
Yeah.
And then somewhere along the lines over the last about 72 hours, something has happened. And I don't know for sure what it was. I will tell you, for example, like Isaac, who's streaming right now, before he started, he got a $1,337 anonymous donation. And something reinvigorated a fire.
Yeah, man.
And then all of a sudden I'm looking at this clock and this ticker, and I was like, are you for real right now? Like, and all of a sudden Marty's getting a $500 donation, right? And all of a sudden we're just click, 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 click. And so this morning I woke up to a dozen Discord messages. I was like, what is going on, right? Something's popping off. And I go to our chat, and all of a sudden I see this, like, guys, like, we're just shy of 9, like, we're just shy of passing Sean's team. I was like, what has happened overnight?
Yeah.
And so turned around, and then so this morning when Isaac started his stream, we just kind of really leaned into it, and I'm really happy that as of right now we're over $10,000.
Insane.
Yeah. So what we ended up doing, we have our total, our goal says like 11,000, whatever it was, I can't remember, and that was literally all of our participants. And we just took their goals and just added them all together. That's how we got to like the 11,732 or whatever it is.
Right.
We have some folks who aren't having this level of success that I think we want them to. But I mean, you know, if we're talking about the $10,000, absolutely blown away. That was a goal that I don't think we ever thought would be tangibly met. And then as we sat back and I thought about it today, it was actually quite emotional actually when we passed that $10,000.
Yes.
I kind of got a little bit misty-eyed about it. I thought, like, we've done this 3 or 4 years. I think it's our 4th year. Did a quick math pull on this one, right? Meaning that the Nintendo dads have raised over $25,000 for Miracle Network Children's Hospitals via Extra Life. And so I think, you know, you and I have had conversations about why we do podcasts, why we do this thing. What is it worth? What are you chasing for? There's not a moment of clarity more than that right there. And you're able to say, because of this corner of the internet, because of these people who believe in something bigger and better, Children's Miracle Network hospitals across North America now have extra $25,000 in their pocket. So that's humbling.
It changes everything. It changes everything. They can count on us. Like, to be relied upon for that, I think is special. The fact that you did it in a year that you met all for the very first time, I don't think is a coincidence, not even a little bit. And, you know, like you and I know this when we engage in our silly little rivalries on the internet. That's the goal. It's trying to do something a little bit different to conjure up some excitement and attention to this thing. Because ultimately we want to do a great thing and raise a bunch of money, and yeah, we get to take shots. But, like, you know, privately we're like I'm not like, I don't know. Sometimes my text messages might not come across as I mean them to, but, like, I'm really proud of you guys. Like, I see you, and I said it earlier, and I meant every word. Like, this is your true potential. You're the Nintendo dads. You guys are the originals. You are at the higher end of the podcast family tree that gave birth to so many more. This is what you should be there. And I'm so happy to see you there at the top. That's where you should be.
Yeah, and I think, you know, for us coming into Lee's event, I would say there was a bit of nervousness.
Sure.
Right, about whether we could deliver what I think people were hoping.
Oh, dude, I feel it. Yes.
Like that in a lot of ways that weight of was challenging. I think I felt, at least, but I feel it. I'm a person who feels differently, right? Like, I'm like, no, that coming in and all of a sudden like, and I mean, it's silly, right? But, you know, and again, it's weird, but like we walked into the building on what day was it? Friday.
I think so.
And like we walk in for the train station, all of a sudden like people stand up and start applauding for us as we walked in. I was like, no, please don't, please don't. And I think as we saw the promo reel, right? Oh, we're gonna take down the Nintendo dads. I turned to Marty and I was like, I did not realize we were this hated, right? Like I was like, I feel like we did not anticipate what was about to occur here.
Well, dude, even he puts a video of Kato on there, who isn't even there, by the way, and goes like, by the way, I'm burying Sean Capri. Like, what the hell did I do? You left me. You left my podcast. Damn it. No good.
It was the energy in that, and just it's funny, like again, getting to meet folks, getting to meet content creators, getting to meet also people who are like part of your community that you don't know face to face.
Yeah.
Right. I hung out with Skinny Matt.
Yeah.
And it was interesting. I was on the floor, and all of a sudden Lee's like, Lee, come here. Or Lee calls me. He's like, Justin, come here. Justin, come here. I was like, yeah, come on over. And he's like, hey, I want to introduce you to not Raul. Can't remember. Starts with an R. My brain is fried right now. And I said, hey, nice to meet you. He's like, I have been supporting you guys on Patreon for years. I am such a massive, huge fan.
That's amazing.
I was like, oh, it's awesome. And he's like, what are you guys playing? I was like, well, we're going to play this and this. And I said, later we're going to play some Towerfall. He's like, we're amazing at Towerfall. Can we come play with you? Absolutely.
Yeah, man.
Right. So they zipped in and sat beside us. We all played Towerfall, and they seemed to have had a great time with it. Right. And it was just that, like, I don't know. As I said to Lee, like, we put our pants on the same way as every other person with robot butlers.
Definitely.
Right. So kind of humbling, I think, in some ways. It was pretty amazing.
Well, aside from the travel being difficult, I think for varying degrees of difficulty, I think for some people, I'm just glad that it seemed like you guys had a really good time. Because here I am spending the whole year going like, come to Rome. And it's like, I hope everybody has a good time, because I've just really leaned into this thing for.
Yeah, you and I are going to have a private conversation about this, but how I think you're an absolute liar. No, I think it was a great time. It was funny, right? Because Lee's like, so you thinking about coming back next year? And I was like, dude, this was great. Like, this was 100% great. We just need to make sure that we're able to do it every year, or at least send representation or send someone, right, to be able to do it. Mm-hmm. Whether it's all four of us, that's a different question, right? That's a hefty bill, but I think it was critical, and we did have a great time. To your point, the only thing that I wish we had more of was time.
Yeah.
Right. Time is the ultimate. And I would have loved for all of us to, like, you're jesting earlier, but I would have loved for all of us to go for a dinner. And all of us to hang out and just connect. And right, like some of these folks, Joseph never, other than being on, I think I've been on call once with Joseph. I've never met him before.
Yeah.
Right. Jace never met before. Yeah. Or Jace never met before. Right. Some of the other guys from Save the Media. Right. Like, Skinny Matt, Dave. Right. Andy. The Nintendo, like all these
everyone
folks,
was
right?
there.
It was. Everyone was there hanging out with Lee. Mm-hmm. Just those kind of moments, right? It was a great time. I loved it.
And for me, it's like just getting everybody there to me is like step one. Obviously, I would love it if we could have everybody repeat every single year. That's probably not the most realistic thing, but that's going to be the goal. That's always going to be the goal, is to start there. Why would I start anywhere less than trying to get everybody to come back? But you can't start in year one with like okay, come a couple days early, and then we'll do this, and then we'll do the thing, and then we'll have a day out. Like, you have to experience it. Like, it's a really difficult thing to try to articulate. This is what you're about to experience, because even if you've watched the stream, I don't think that it's possible to really convey the energy. I think you get a sense maybe of the energy, but you don't really. It's hard. It's hard to like really understand, like, the space that we're in even, and that you get up and you're going to bump into somebody else. And there's this weird, excited, but stressful energy of just getting set up. And like, do we have internet and all this stuff? So it is an experience that I think you have to have at least one under your belt before you go, okay, how do we make this better next year, before jumping in perfection on year one, if that makes sense.
Yeah, 100%. Like we had no idea what we would
Right.
to really expect, right? So like, I mean, Jesse was shipping boxes to Lee, right? I'm trying to coordinate with like, Glitch Energy to have stuff sent there. Like it's just this kind of like massive coordination of uncertainty.
Right.
But then once you get there, now you're like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like here are the 5. Like if you're, like anything, if you do a debrief afterwards, here are the 5 things that worked well. Here are the 5 things to improve on.
Yep.
Right. And so I think it would give you a lot of
Couches.
insight. Couches were great.
Couches were great. Yep.
Love that idea.
Yep.
Right?
Big
I thought
TV.
that was
Especially for you guys.
wonderful.
You guys mostly played on the same TV. That was pretty good.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, like we tried to have that opportunity, right? Me as well.
You also have a Jesse. That was good.
That was, man, let me tell you.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, like that setup was idiot proof. And I mean, I'm the idiot. So the fact that I was able to figure out the buttons was something to be said. So
You did it, man. Well, you alluded to it earlier, but I went out for dinner. I was there for work, and then it kind of led into the Extra Life weekend. And it was wonderful because the people I work with there are also interested in that weekend. So I had them also donate as well. But we went out for dinner. As you do, you develop these relationships, and I always look forward to see these people are some of the smartest people I know, and they've taught me so much about the industry that I've worked in for 13, 14 years at this point. But they chose the restaurants, and it did not take long for me to realize I had made a fatal error. Justin, it was like, oh my gosh, we went out, we have food, said thank you very much, great to see you, see you next time, blah, blah, blah. Go back and meet up with Jace. Hey man, we've never hung out before. Cool. Let's get some rest before we get into this whole thing with Extra Life. And my stomach was not good, man. I knew almost instantly, like I gotta try to sleep through this, and that didn't work. Again, hi Jace. Welcome to this undersized hotel room that we're sharing, having met for the first time. And yeah, felt violently ill all night. I was saying to a friend earlier today, like, you don't think that you got food poisoning. Some people are like, I think I got food poisoning. It's like, you didn't get food poisoning then. You know when it happens to you because you're screaming why as things are
says everything's occurring to you. What have
why?
I done, God? Why are you forsaking me?
Dude, and probably even more so than the stream itself. Whilst being sick and being awake all night, I'm looking at the time and realizing how very little sleep I'm getting. I'm getting absolutely nothing. And 10 o'clock is getting closer and closer. And at a certain point, I message you and I'm like, I'm feeling awful because this is the one thing I've been looking for, probably as much as the Extra Life stream itself, is this meetup that's happening at Nintendo New York. And I'm like, dude, 10 o'clock is not going to happen. I'm so sorry. And what do you, maybe I'll throw it over to you. Like, what do you get this message and what are you thinking, honestly?
Yeah, I mean, so this is I pulled up our text conversation, right? I was like, what did I say here? I said, because I just sent you some photos earlier about like us kind of catching up to you. I said, hey, we're coming for you. Made up a lot of difference over the last 24 hours. And you're like, oh, wow. And the comment was, I was up all night with food poisoning. Going to be a little bit late to Nintendo World.
I still had like a little bit of positive Sean energy. Just like, I'm really proud of you. I've been dying all night. Let me just start
So and at this point, we had recognized that you were literally like a block and a half from us.
Yeah.
Which was completely unbeknownst to us. That was not planned. And so I just replied with like, dude, that sucks. Do you need us to bring you anything?
Yeah.
And so your next response is, I'll grab something. I have Advil in my for my headache, but I need some crackers and Pedialyte.
Oh,
so
yeah.
My commentary was just instantly, are you okay with Gatorade or Powerade? Because I knew there was a 7-Eleven that was like at the corner because I had gone there about 12 hours earlier and bought beers. So I was fully aware that there was a 7-Eleven that had the stuff. Oh, yeah. You're replied with, oh, yeah, that's also a good idea. And I said, all right, well, I'll bring it. The 7-Eleven likely has crackers. Do you want me to grab and bring over? Honestly, that'd be helpful. On my way.
Honestly, that would help a lot. Was me like, I sat there. I don't even know what the timestamps here are, but it felt like a long time of me just going like, because I don't want to put people like out of pocket or inconvenience people, even though like I'm basically desperate at this point for like some help. But the fact that like you didn't skip a beat. It seemed like it was just like instantly like, can I bring you something? That I don't know, man, not to get like too much into it, but like I won't forget that for a long, like probably forever. That is exactly what I needed. It wasn't a lot. It's not like you had to spend $1,000 or go like across town or anything, but like I didn't have Chelsea taking care of me or anything like that. I didn't have my parents or anything, but like I needed help big time. Like I was like really down and out and I wanted to be there.
And I mean, I don't know. My commentary about it is I just think that's what you just do for people. Right? Like it's like, listen, you're not like, I'm not missing a flight for you. I'm not missing a concert for you. Right.
Fair.
But listen, you're close to me. Know there are their supplies. I would hate to be in your position. You're in a city you don't know. You probably can't leave your hotel room with the current condition you're in. So like, let's, and we want you to be prepared for this weekend. We want you to be in good shape. We want you to be participants. So I don't think it takes much to understand that needs to solve. So I just said to the lads, I said, guys, you guys can go to Nintendo World. I'm going to go get Sean his shit and make him feel better. And then we'll meet you there and I'll text you on our way.
I think that was the biggest thing that jumped out to me was that I was like 10 o'clock isn't going to happen. And you're like, well, it isn't for me either. So that we can get you going. And I was like, that definitely, like all those things are on my mind. I don't often like really enjoy accepting help, especially when it's going to put somebody at an inconvenience for sure. But even at that time, I'm like, I don't know if 10 o'clock is happening and I don't know what's happening this weekend because I've had food poisoning before once. And thankfully this was much more mild compared to that. I have a giant, huge cat in here. Get out of here, Max. We're talking about Extra Life. Goodness gracious. What are you thinking, Max? God. But that's exactly what I needed. I needed 2 gigantic Powerades, and some salts. I needed some salts.
And what we assumed at some point was women menstrual cramp drugs.
That's what did the trick, man. That might have been the key thing.
That might have been the game changer.
I think it might have been.
Box even said something like as good as Pepto.
Yep, I can't believe they get away with that.
It's like, what do you do with your life right now?
That doesn't sound.
I mean, I don't know. That was I appreciate your kindness, but it was just like, listen, that's just what you do.
Yeah.
Right?
But you had somewhere else to be. Like that was, I don't know, man. Like you
sure.
just
So did you.
I know, but yeah, it meant a lot, and we ended up getting there. But you opened the door to my hotel room, and be honest.
So I opened the door and like you looked like death.
Yeah, it wasn't good.
Like you looked like death warmed over. And I also didn't know that Jace was there. Right. So all of a sudden this other person was like, oh, okay. All right. Hopefully, everything's going all right here. And I think you were trying to be super polite and being like, cool, I'm good. You can leave now.
Right.
I think you were trying to do that. And I was like, listen. I didn't say it, but I was like, listen, I'm already committed to being here. I'm with you here. We're gonna get this together by hook or by crook.
Yeah.
Like if I have to pick you up and drag you, I'll bring you. Right? Let's do this together. Right. If I'm gonna be late, if you're gonna be late, I'm gonna be late.
Yeah. And
so it was a little bit of just like, and how can we help you?
One step at a time.
And that was essentially it, right? Like, because I did not want. I'm gonna tell us right now. I didn't want you to miss Extra Life.
Yeah.
I didn't want you to not be 100% for Extra Life because I didn't want some excuse about why the Nintendo dads ran through your team, destroyed you. You're like, because they ran through me because I had food poisoning that ran through me. Yeah. So I had to I was like, no.
So not only did you nurse me back to health, but you got us in the best position as possible, and you still beat us. You still beat us.
Exactly. I didn't want excuses. You know what I'm saying? It's pride. I have pride in that kind of stuff.
I get it. You don't want to win like that. You don't want to win, and I'm just sitting there just like trying to keep it together. Bodily functions failing, kidneys failing, livers failing, God knows what else.
God knows what else.
Yeah. And all it takes is just ever like maybe just a tangent here. Does it ever surprise you of like what actually like heals us? And you're like, you sprain an ankle, you're like, just throw some ice on it. Like, that's as good as we've got right now. This hurts like hell. You know, ice it. It's just like the stuff I pull out of my freezer. That's it.
That used to be the joke. You know, I played rugby for several years, coached it as well, and that used to be the joke about it. Like you'd see a guy down, it's like, get him water. Mm-hmm. And I was like, that guy just got like his head rocked off.
Seriously,
and you're like, give him some water. Like, what is in that water that he is all of a sudden okay to move forward? He's not like it's magic water.
Look, man, we travel across the country to go do this Extra Life thing. Have these children's hospitals tried ice?
Listen, I mean, we might be able to buy a lot of ice.
Have they tried water in liquid and or frozen form? Justin, I don't know. We may have skipped a step emails.
Here. I appreciate what you've done, but I'm just curious.
Just
tell me about your research on ice as of late.
Yeah, I'm excited and inspired by the medical advancements that you're talking about. Can we just look backwards just for a second? Where did you start? What have we overlooked something just a little bit? Because as far as I know,
ice just might do it. Yeah. Well, I was shocked by like the 2 Gatorades or the Powerades that you drank.
Mm-hmm.
Seemed to kind of, and again, not make sense, right? You're losing electrolytes.
Yep.
So you need to put those back in your body. So Powerade would do it.
I heard something the other day, and I don't know, maybe this is the proof like the Google machine is just listening to us all the time. But there's this idea that if you can't taste the salt, it's not enough salt. Do you know what I mean? Like it's diluted enough, like whatever the electrolytes you're having, it's diluted so it's bearable that you can actually like swallow it. So I'm like,
that's
okay.
Interesting. Never thought of that.
Yeah, it's like we have this all wrong too.
Yeah. The other fun part that I enjoyed about you being sick, I know that sounds like an odd statement about enjoyed you about being sick.
Yes, please.
Is randomly, folks, you would just see Sean Capri with a bag of crackers, like Ritz. And it was just like everywhere. It was like all of a sudden he just pulled a bag of Ritz out of his pouch and his fanny pack or whatever. And all of a sudden you're sitting on the train and there's popping Ritz.
Half a cracker at a time.
Yeah. He was like holding them like it was a security blanket. And which I think in a lot of ways it was your security blanket.
I think it was, man. I'm like, I'm not losing these things at all. And they were like, I had to ration them. Like you can't just like down them all at the same time. Not because you need to like, it's not like a sustenance thing. I couldn't force them all down. Apparently there's some sort of challenge out there too. We should have tried.
Oh, I'm sure there's a challenge for everything nowadays, right? Stupid challenges.
Did anybody do that that one chip challenge? Didn't you guys
one
have
chip
those?
challenge? No. Nobody did it, I don't think. And yet we had like 6 boxes of these things, which I was like, listen, y'all talk the talk.
I know, right?
Like Jesse went and bought milk, stored it in a fridge, got in trouble for storing it in said fridge. I was like, listen, you've gone this far. You best be doing it.
Think of how much money you'd raise. You'd be at 11,000 by now.
Right? We might be down one Jesse. That would be the concern.
That's true. That's not a good.
They were like, oh, Justin, you should do the chip challenge. I was like, no.
Yeah, not even a little bit. This is enough.
Not even.
The fact that we're doing like that's the thing I consider a lot when doing like these challenging fundraisers is that oftentimes you'll have to do something in addition to it. Like you're already doing 24 hours, but here, like, remove your tongue also.
Yeah.
Just like rip it out of your face.
I was like, listen, the wrong chili flake ends up on my pizza, and I've got a whole weekend in the toilet. So no, I'm not deliberately taking something that is in the shape of a coffin as a challenge. That is not happening.
Yeah, man.
Right?
Oh, dude. Extra Life is done. We did it. Survived. Travel. Food poisoning. Each other. You know.
Right? And that was funny. By the end of it, I was like, I have enjoyed my company with these people, but
that's enough.
Do not need to see them.
Time to go.
Time to go home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a weird thing because you get so used to like there's that moment where you're seeing somebody for the first time and you're like, oh, you're in 3 dimensions. That's kind of neat. Like, look at that. And it's different. And then you get used to it, and that's how you spend the 24 hours or whatever. And then you're like, all right, see ya. And you say goodbye as if you're going to see them, like, again. Like the next day or the next weekend or whatever else. Because you've said goodbye to people in your real life all the time, and you see them around. But, like, you're saying goodbye, and these people are going back to Oklahoma or wherever, you know?
Yeah, and I mean, like, for us, the Nintendo dads, I mean, this is the first time in 8 years.
Yes.
Right, that we were all together in the same room. That was such a surreal moment, right? Like, and to your point, you're like, yeah, well, all right, see you later, bye. And you're like, legitimately, like, not knowing where our lives will end ourselves, this may be the last time we see these people. You never know what's around that corner. You never know what, if it took 8 years the first time, I doubt we'll all be together in 8 years from now.
Yeah.
Right. Life finds a way.
Life finds a way to just mess things up, man.
Holy cow. So you never know, but it was absolutely surreal.
Well, that's why I'm glad you mentioned that, because it's hard to, like, we'll talk about next year at another time, but there was a lot of, we're gearing up for this year, and a lot of people are like, oh, I wish I could be there. I'll be there next year. And like, I don't know, maybe it's just the whole like Bobby thing that I'm like, I don't think that way anymore. I don't think like, oh, not this time, next time. And so I'm really glad that you guys, I don't know, maybe it was a similar type of thing. Maybe just the stars were aligning or whatever. The fact that it aligned with your 400th episode is like mind-boggling.
Yeah. Yeah, and if we actually think about it, if we end up doing it again, and it's the same weekend, in theory, 2 years from now, it lines up with 10 years in episode 500.
That's wild, man.
If everything aligns kind of the way it works, that would probably be pretty close to it. I'll actually behind the curtain, actually wasn't supposed to be episode 3 or 400. It was supposed to be episode 399.
Oh, there you go.
And we recognized we were so close, and we're like, screw it. So there's like an other episode that we did like just beforehand that was 399 to get us to 400. Yeah, I don't know whether it was. I don't know whether it was the Bobby situation that really heated us up. I think there was something that just kind of really called to us, and I think it wasn't even until we had agreed to do it that we then realized, oh, that's episode 400.
Right.
So it wasn't the opposite way. It was like, hold on a second.
Oh, yeah.
Right. And then these things kind of pieced together. I think we looked at it and said, like, you're coming out of COVID. We haven't seen each other. We have these opportunities. Like, Jesse was supposed to go to E3. We were accepted to go to E3. He had to pass on that because of COVID. And we kind of looked at it and said, because you had asked us last year to do it as well, as memory serves, and I said, we're not gonna. And so we just kind of like, I remember just sending a message to the group, and I said, listen, guys, do you guys want to do this? Because if we can, and if you want to, I'm looking at this, and I think it can make sense. We're gonna have to run some numbers and look at it, but I think it can make sense. We can do it, and here's how we could do it. And it wasn't very hard for everyone to come back and say yes.
And the Manscaped ads were born.
Right, right, and then true transparency, right? Like I've said before, like Manscaped, Gooder, all those things. The Patreon funding helped us to get there. Yeah, right, where we're able to subsidize some of those costs, right, to be able to support something like that, which is incredible, right? Because it's a hefty bill for all four of us to go and all four of us to stay and do those things that we did. Yeah. But that was it. But we were able to get that support, and so that was pretty incredible. It was just we should do this, and we did it. And then once we were in, like, all of a sudden, the Nintendo pals were like, oh, you guys are going too. Yep. And so, okay, that pulled in them. And I know, like, think the Snack Network, Dave and the Snack Network had already come on board. Right. And so that came on. I know we were trying to get Seth to come on. Right. So it just felt like a little bit of a tidal wave that came through, and I think just the idea of, like, hey, and to be honest, we had talked about it before. We had talked about doing a Extra Life gaming weekend, the four of us in one location. Yeah, we just couldn't figure out where. Right? Like, we were like, oh, well, maybe we'll do it in, like, Marty's town. Like, so those talks had already happened in the background. Right. So then when you were like, well, why don't y'all just come to Rome? We're like, oh, that's a better idea, right? Like, that makes a lot more sense. Why don't we just do that, right? And so that was, so I think we already had the direction or the idea, the energy was behind it. It was then picking a location, and I think you happen to slide into my DMs or text me the right amount of time, the right time. That was, hey, Extra Life.
It was every single day for like 6 months.
I think so. It was pretty close to, right? And it was like, oh, right? And then it was funny because I think I said to you guys, I said, I think we might be. And I think you went, I think might be became a green light for you because you were like, I'm on a call right now with Lee. Can you jump on a call? I'm like, I am driving. I'm like, I need to schedule stuff, buddy.
But I know how
in,
this
like,
kind of
play.
thing works. So like the way that you kind of just map that out, I think is exactly what I hope for. Anytime, like, because I talk about this all the time. But like, oh, this might be possible. I think if I actually look at it, what are we really talking about here? A flight here, a hotel here. More difficult than those things is the decision, actually. And it's a completely mental thing. And that's the reason I get so like energized by all of this kind of thing, because it's like once you put your mind to it, you can do it. Once you put your mind to being there, you can be there. If it's setting $50 a month aside or 25, but whatever it is, like putting money aside a year ahead of time, there's a way to do it. If you have a fundraising goal, there's a way to reach your fundraising goal. And being just there for 24 hours, like if you put your mind to it, you can do it. And that's the thing I get really excited about, because I talked about you guys reaching your fundraising potential. You should be at $10,000. Like this is a big kick on that I'm on these days, is realizing that potential and fighting for it, and realizing that wherever we're at right now, we can probably be just a step better tomorrow, and pushing ourselves through a 24-hour marathon, raising more money than we ever thought, getting people to be there. Like that doesn't happen by accident. I get really inspired by that sort of stuff, that I needed the Nintendo dads to be there. I needed you guys to join me so that we could get the Nintendo pals. And now that we've done this, it's like, where else can we go here? So I get very dreamlike, and everybody at Carpool knows that this is maybe a scary place for me to be, is when I start asking, like, what if we had Justin? What if we had all the Nintendo dads, and we had the Nintendo pals sitting right next to him, and all these things? And I could start to like picture it. I really start to visualize, what if it looked like this? And I'm not going to lie to you, what happened is very, very close to the what if. Like what 4 years ago, never going to happen. Like I remember even saying to Lee, why are you inviting me to Rome? That's never going to happen. Thanks for the invite. You're a nice guy, but you're insane. And then before I know it, I'm sleeping at his house, and we're doing this thing. So I get very excited by probably going the transformation from probably not ever going to happen to we did it. Like we're now having a conversation about that happened.
Yeah. So what does the next level look like for you? And so I guess I can say this: what does that next level look like for this aspiration of Extra Life, and also knowing that like it's it's kind of under Lee's guise and Phoenix Overdrives, but then I guess also like what is you talk about that potential. What does that potential look like for you? What does that potential look like for Carpool Gaming, for what the work that you do? Like where do all those things sit? So that's a couple of questions that I'd like to hear you unpack.
It's a big one. And I think we've had a couple of days where I've gone from, I'm never doing that ever again. And that is always the case for me. Whenever I do anything where I'm pushing myself, and I don't know if you're the same, and it's a different version for all of us, whether like we went for a walk and that was the longest walk we ever went on, or whatever it is. I've done a bunch of bike rides. I've done a couple runs and things like that. And I'm like, as soon as I'm done, I'm like, I don't even want to think about ever doing that again. I'm selling my bike. I'm selling my shoes. I'm doing whatever, just like never want to do it. Now we're almost a week out from Saturday, and I'm already thinking like, well, this is just the start. Like, where else can we go? And I've hinted at a couple of those things that I would love to get people there a day or two early and genuinely do some like crossover content. I think would be really like bare minimum as far as like taking it up a notch, I think. Technically, I think there's a couple other things on the side I think that we could do, but getting more people there would be absolutely massive. And the fact that next year is Lee's 40th birthday and game day is on his 40th birthday, like I actually start to separate even myself from just how do we make this as massive as possible for Lee, because he's been putting so much work into this. And it's a big reason why Bobby and I back in 2019, we didn't make a Make Us Better or Yumi Capri or whatever team. We joined Phoenix Overdrive because Lee puts in all the work, and we're there to support him. And that's something that I just get really inspired about. The other thing that I think about though too is you guys are still fundraising now. So what if Extra Life goes beyond just game day weekend? Like what if there's a follow-up of some sort or a lead-up of some sort? I think would be really interesting. Or mid-year tournaments. Like that's one thing you and I experienced in the room together is
the esports element was real, man. Like watching those Mario Kart tournaments and the Smash and everything was like so fun to watch. So how do we promote Extra Life mid-year with like some sort of Nintendo Dads, Carpool Gaming, Save the Game Media, like Smash tournament or something?
Love it. Yeah, that'd be great, right? Kind of. Well, I mean, and that could align very nicely with Gaming for Guru, right? As that connection there too. So,
yeah, I think a day or two early is like the key difference. If we had some crossover content and some. Yeah, like I almost think about like an all-star weekend. You got your game and then you got your skills competitions. Like what else could we do ahead of time? I think
that's great. Yeah,
would be really interesting. Yeah, and recognize people for being there. That's one thing. We mentioned it earlier. You say goodbye and you're like, all right, see you never. Like recognizing the people who are there and for being there. There's always more that we can do on that front.
Yeah,
thanks for being here. Thanks for the 6-hour drive that you did. Those are things. And I was saying to Lee and his family as we were hanging out afterwards, like they just do that so naturally. They don't do it as a strategy or anything. They're grateful that people are there because it's just who they are.
Yeah, no, that was, I know Lee sent me a note privately as well afterwards, and it was great, right? And so it was, it was just a fantastic experience, and the passion they have for it, and I was saying to Lee, I was like, is there any way that we can still add the Nintendo Dads into the sub team for Overdrive?
Yeah.
Because
I think that's coming next year. I think sub team.
That's what he mentioned, right? I said that would be huge because we'd kind of already had that established before we'd moved into kind of coming down there, right? So
yeah. No, man, it's special. I'm glad I've had a couple of days to get away from my poopy pants attitude about it all, but to me, it represents. I always try to have at least one or two things a year that I go, well, I don't think I can do that, so let's do it anyways, because it's hard. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, I mean, it is one of those things that I kind of I don't do Extra Life every year. I do Extra Life every 2 years essentially, right? Because that way I'm not tapping the same people all the time, and so when I do come ring your bell, I've left you alone for 2 years. Please now donate, right? And also just the realization that there's, to your point, getting too old for this every single year. But
someday you're going to actually be too old, though.
Yeah, no, I recognize that too.
We say this, I don't know. Are you really feeling old, or is it something that you just been getting used to saying?
It depends on the day. Like, listen, Sean, naps excite me. All right, I'm at that point in my life. All right, like I looked at my watch. I looked at my watch recently. I was to my wife and I said, "Oh, sure, it's we head off to bed." It was like it's 8:30, and I was like, "I know
what's wrong with that."
And it was nothing. And it was not in that like I know it's 8:30. How you doing? It was I know I'm tired. And maybe it's the Canadian weather. Maybe it's the dark.
The dark, dude. Yeah, at 8:30, it's been dark for 4 hours or something.
Exactly. I take the dog for a run at like 3:30, and I'm like, I have to at 3:30 because by 5 it's black as this dead of space out there. So I need
30 Days a Night. Stop. That Josh Hartnett movie.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
Classic. Yeah, man. Like we are not spring chickens, but one of these days we will actually be too old, but
sure,
not yet. Not yet.
I had just those entire 4 days was just unbelievable.
Yeah, man.
Every part of it, whether it was the 400th episode, whether it was the meet and greet, sitting on the train and playing a massive amount of Mario Party, going to Applebee's for dinner, set up, then 25 hours of streaming, right? Like. And it is this kind of, and to your point, it's such a weird like moment of decompression afterwards. Like I was like, okay, bye, and then I like got in Skinny Matt's car. He drove me to the train station. He's like, all right, well, peace out. And I was like, yeah. And then it was this weird moment because that train station in Rome is real sketch.
It's special,
right? And I was expecting someone to be there. There was nobody there. There was not a soul. So I walk up the train station, up on the platform. I just looked forward on the tracks, both sides. There's a bridge that crosses. There's nothing. It was the first time in 4 days there was nothing. There was no sounds. It was just nature. It was this eerie stillness, but also this like moment of like solitude of like what has just happened over the last 3 days, and begin to comprehend and begin to process and like put all those things in your brain, right? Because your body's been moving you through these things, right? But your brain, your emotion, your spirit has kind of not caught up yet, and so then it all kind of like and all caught up together, and you're like, huh. So it was an interesting kind of just moment of reflection on a quiet train platform in Rome as I waited for it to arrive. So
I'm glad you said that. That is something that resonates with me big time. Whether it's Gaming for Guru or Extra Life, there is almost always a moment where it's almost like trauma, but in a good way. And you explained it, actually, you articulated that very nicely. Like, because your body, you know what you're supposed to do. The plan is there, and you are going from one thing to the next, and in some cases, it's somebody driving you from one place to the next, or whatever it is. And then it all stops, and then you have nothing else to. There is no what's next. And that's when your brain finally allows you to just kind of like take a breath, and it all hits you. And it can be a very overwhelming. For me, in the past, it has been a very overwhelming experience. I think especially for the one that really comes to mind is the first time we did Gaming for Guru when he was in the hospital, and we did such a great thing. And that like that's what I think about for Extra Life as well. We did a great thing, but that like I think for the Gaming for Guru was the first time that I like had articulated in that way. Like good for us, because we did everything we possibly could for this guy. And we did what we know what we can do, and the community rallied around us, and we worked hard to do it. And then it hits you, and you're like, that doesn't happen all the time, and that can be very addicting. I think if it doesn't completely crush you, but it can be addicting. You're like, you want to do that again, because these are the experiences that make up our lives. It's not the things. It's not the Xboxes or the PlayStations or the Canadian Tire Flyers that somehow bring me joy also. But it's these experiences that we all think is too hard to do. And that's why I get frustrated when I hear that kind of thing. It's like, man, it's not impossible. And it's so much more rewarding than whatever thing we want to spend our money on.
I mean, I think that's I think if you want to turn into a parenting perspective, that's the approach that we've always taken for a long time with our children is things fade, right? Toys break, things fade, but the experiences that we're able to provide, those are things that last. It's those memories. It's those quiet moments between those things, right? That you remember, that you care about, that resonate and sit with you. Not, sure, everybody wants the latest iPhone or the latest Xbox or whatever it is, but those are things that just fade. And so we've done that as parents, as we look upon the Christmas season, that ours have always been much more experience based.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah,
it's the way that I
great.
look at it, and like it's kind of that idea of like even as we got to the Nintendo store, right? And there's these amazing things, these cool things that you wanted, but I was like, it's not the thing I want here. It's that I am here.
There
with these people. That's the important thing. That's the thing that I took more joy out of it. It's the thing that I enjoyed more.
Yeah.
Right. Like I said, it's those quiet moments, right? So.
That's why I just want people to be there. Like, that's why I focus so much on, like, don't worry about this, that, or the other. Just being there is what you will take away from it. Because one day you'll look back on everything and you don't look back and go, oh man, I'm so glad I had that 10-second Andy Shock Sony Discman when it was available.
Right? Whew. That thing was a banger.
I tested it. It had 10 seconds, but did you push yourself? Did you realize your potential? Did you do things that you never thought you could do or that seemed really difficult? And did you meet with people? Did you break bread? Those are the things, man. And we get to do it because of video games. And we get to raise money for these kids. And we get to do it because Lee and his family are so selfless that they open up their entire community to strangers from the internet. It's like, doesn't it feel like we're so lucky?
Right. It just does. And then to be able to be with those people, like say your conversation earlier, to break bread, to have those conversations, quiet moments is with people that I have only known through a screen.
Yeah, man.
I've known their voice. I've sent them messages, but to hold, to shake hands, to hug, to share a pint, right? Like those are things that like you can't turn those things away, right?
Yeah,
like because time is pretty fickle. As we all know, and none of us know our expiration dates. So
I can't help but I've been transformed in my thinking on that, for better or for worse. But that is where I'm at. Justin Masson, I think we just recorded the commercial for next year's big recruitment.
Yeah, absolutely. Boy, I mean, yeah, that's gonna be a real hype video for Lee to cut there, won't it? My voice sounds throttled and like, let me tell you about my philosophy regarding.
Well, I'm glad. I feel like we actually had a nice narrative, a narrative arc, because like we started like it was hard and everything was difficult. But I hope you agree that I feel like it was completely worth it. As my brain starts to come back online here, and your team continues to crush it in the fundraising.
$10,077. I'm looking at it right now. We are now ranked overall. Oh my gosh. Our team ranking is 112.
That's insane.
World.
Yep, that's where the Nintendo dad should be. That's what I'm talking about, man.
I'm actually looking at Marty right now. He's streaming right now live, and his son Isaac. This is Isaac's first time participating in Extra Life. He's watched his dad do it.
Yep.
He's participated with his dad, but this is the first year. Isaac raised his hand and said, "Hey, it's my turn. I've got this, Dad."
About.
And he is, I kid you not, his goal was $2,000 and he is currently at $1,920.
Let's go.
He is $80 away from his goal, right? I mean, that's incredible stuff, right? I mean, I love the fact that, and I just sharing some quiet moments with you here as well. My daughters jumped on and played Fortnite with me during the stream. They were at home. They connected their switches. So when I was playing some Fortnite, they were playing with me. Jody jumps on and plays Marty as she does.
Yes.
Like, just getting people connected and people involved, right? Like it's that kind of thing that's just incredible. And to your point, like, I mean, it's funny. People are like, what did you do this weekend? I was like, I went to New York to do some fundraising. And they're like, sorry, what now? Like, you ever heard of Extra Life? And they're like, no. And then you have to start with, we play video games.
Yep.
And they're like, really?
Yeah.
Right. And I was like, yeah, but did I tell you we just raised $10,000? So
yeah,
mic drop.
Right. It's about having an open. All of it is just about having an open mind. Like that conversation, we've all had it, and it's a closed mindset, and it's like, okay, well, who's judging who now? Then, like, open your mind. And the passing of the torch. There's nothing more beautiful. I've said it once before, at least, and I'll say it again. Inspiring more people to have this at least a part of their lives. It's a massive part of my life. It's my career. But having this as people's, just their persona and things that they want to be a part of, it's important. It's important for our communities. Is it like there's so much to be mad about? I literally muted the word Twitter on Twitter today, and it's like, oh my God, like, if we can occupy our time and minds with much more positive things, this is one of those things that if you dive deep into this sort of thing, suddenly you don't have any time to worry about that other garbage. And I promise you, it's better.
Better place to be. Right? Think of what you can do, not what you can't do.
And also what America can do for, I don't know, what did he say?
Face race. We the people. Yeah.
Justin Masson, what's your favorite? I'll close out by saying this. What's your favorite part of Canadian Tire? Do you like the auto? Do you like the tires? Do you like the toys? Do you like the home? Did you know they have piñatas? Actually, a party city.
Piñatas?
Now.
What?
Yes.
Oh, they are. Listen, the amount of things that Canadian Tire owns. Canadian Tire owns Sports Check, Mark's Work Warehouse.
What? It does?
Yes. Sports Check, Mark's Work Warehouse, and Party City.
You know.
So did you know your Canadian Tire card or whatever it is has like additional value so many places now? It's camping would probably be my section. I do like camping.
They got
I do
hockey
like hiking.
Stuff. They got sticks.
I don't play any hockey.
They got pucks. Look at these weird wrenches. They got these like curved wrenches. This is like the Matrix. Like there is no spoon.
Why are they curved?
I think that little kid that Neo met at the
just bends the spoon with his mind.
The Oracle's house. They're just kind of hanging out, bending. Is
wrenches. That some headphones in the bottom left-hand corner there?
It is. Yeah. No, it's hearing protection. Wireless. That's weird. Wireless Bluetooth hearing protection. 20% off. Look at this. Weird. Everybody needs it. You need to go through your local Canadian Tire.
Canadian Tire.
Yeah. Black Friday early deals. This is as early as I've seen Black Friday.
Ooh, they've got some fantastic usually deals on pots and pans too and cooking stuff.
Justin Masson, thank you for saving my life in New York.
Welcome, pal. Anytime. Happy to do it.
In Rome, New York, we raised a bunch of money. We did a good thing. Thanks for debriefing a little bit here.
Welcome. I hope next year your team is actually able to show up. That'd be nice.
Damn. Okay. Yep. I deserve it. Last year, I stirred the hornet's nest with Kato, and she showed me what for, and I'm glad to do it. It actually makes me happy. If it means that you're going to raise a bunch of money, that's the whole goal. But you're dead to me. Wait,
fair enough.
Wrong. That's not what I meant.
No, it's okay. I'll remember that next time you need some Pedialyte and crackers.
So will I. Do you want to let the wonderful people know where they can find you on the internet and your podcast and everything else?
Sure. Nintendo Dads. You can find us on Twitter at Nintendo Dads. You can just type in Nintendo Dads and pretty much anything. You can find our website, our podcast, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, OnlyFans. It's pretty sexy stuff going on there.
Damn.
And then if you want to just like follow me and my nonsense, I do a lot of what do I do right now? Promoting a lot of voice acting work.
Very cool.
Just kind of nonsensical work and just the dad life that I live. You can follow me at Masson, Masson 23. That's what I do.
Amazing, dude. Well,
thanks for having me. I love the fact that we had to go to a different country to hang out. That's great.
I mean,
we're literally 6 hours. We're literally 6 hours from each other.
You are here often. You are in the city.
I'm a horrible person. You're never my way though.
I skip.
Did you just stop at the Calgary border or Calgary like city limit line and just stop? What's going on?
Pretty much. I'm like, I'm not. It's like a cliff. I'm like, I can't take another step.
I can't go any further than that.
Just like, sorry.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Okay.
We should meet in like Drumheller though. That'd be fun.
That would be fun.
You guys are probably done with Drumheller though. Your kids probably don't want to do dinosaurs.
They've been there. We did a couple times. It's not bad. Airdrie. I'm in Airdrie often.
Yeah, I'll do Airdrie.
That's just like
Airdrie's
Calgary.
good.
Red Deer.
Yeah, Red Deer. Yes.
Deer. Right. So.
Oh, what a place we live in, my friend. All right. What a lovely man, that Justin Masson. Guys, I feel like you already are, but please, you're going to want to follow. I should have wrote this down, so I'm going to try and do this from memory. You're going to want to follow and listen to everyone who was there, basically. Trophy Room was there, Save the Game Media, of course, Nintendo Dads, Nintendo Pals, the Snack Network, Andy Penizik was there, Skinny Matt was there, everybody was there. Jace, of course, PSVG was there, Kevin Austin, Josh Barboni, my good friends, so many people. And everybody's going to have their own account on this. And it's an interesting thing because I think that I could probably spend the next 3 months talking to each person individually. Don't think that would make for the best content. But you know what? At this stage, I'm an old man. I'm an old podcasting man. And I'm just going to do what I want. You know what I'm saying? I'm just going to call up Justin Masson and just do what you just heard. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you're on the video, please give us a like. If you're listening on podcasts and listening on free feeds, you can go to patreon.com/carpoolgaming. But if you don't want to do that, send us a like over on the YouTube. That's the best way to support us. And it's free, helps us grow. Leave a review on the Apple Podcasts and Spotify. That would be absolutely incredible. Some of you are wondering, hey, Sean, I thought you were going to talk about those New Year's resolutions. 2021, I looked them up. 2021, I had categories and I had all these different things. I had personal goals, I had gaming goals and fitness goals and all these other things. Too many goals, too many things. I stressed out about it. 2022,
My goals were to launch Carpool Gaming. As you've seen, that happened. That was in April, but I was already thinking that in January. All the planning was in place. At that time, the plan was a little bit different, but maybe one day we'll tell you a little bit about what that plan was. But it didn't look like this. It was close, but it wasn't. It was close, but way off. You know what I mean? I also wanted to expand my entertainment, like what I was consuming and the content that I was creating. So we got a little bit of that. I've been watching more movies, which has been nice because I felt like I'm only doing gaming in my free time. So I wanted to do a little bit more than that. And we did the Scott Pilgrim thing as well with the content, and more to come on that. I still got to do the Last Ronin, but we had other things going on, so we'll get there. And also a house party equivalent, which was kind of the idea of us all getting together and making content. Extra Life was as close as that's going to get. So there you go. Those are my things. The music is ending, so I need to tell you about this clip. Me and Bobby, every episode ends with a clip of the late, great Nintendo guru. Thanks to Josh Stapleton for getting these clips together. We're talking about Mario 35. Remember that thing that was available for like 3.5 months because Nintendo's silly? I'll see you guys next week. Okay, bye, Bob.
Well, there's something I liked that I saw yesterday. I'll talk on that. And then something I did. So what I don't like about it is, you'll go like World 1, 2, a lot of repetitive.
Right.
Like, I want to branch out and play some of the other levels as well, but it just feels like you're constantly jammed in the first couple of levels. The other thing, too, is I tried the Warp Pipe the other day.
Yep.
And it lets you pick which world you want to go in. World 1, 1, or World 1, 2, 1, or 3, 1. Or
2.
It's pretty cool. It's a pretty ingenious setup.
I'm wondering like how many of the levels, it seems like they've picked these ones for a reason. I wonder how many of the other levels are like conducive to this. Is it like, because I don't know until I really try it, but like, are some levels like no good for this? Like, and even the castles are just really like, those are some of the most challenging levels in the game.
Yeah.
Like, this is another one. You could start on this one.
Well, because it's hard because what's tough about the castles are already challenging as it is.
That's what I mean.
Then you throw all those enemies in the mix, and it's like, oh my god, what is even happening here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like it's just getting started, honestly. I feel like what's been out for like just a couple days now, 3 days or something like that. And I'm kind of waiting for them to open it up a little bit. And this is the kind of, I feel like other people have made this comparison as well. Like, it's kind of like when you fire up Mario Maker and you're like, this is Mario, but this isn't Mario. Like, this isn't how I remembered. It's very wacky. It's like, what's a Bowser doing in this underwater world?
Dude, I ran into a Bowser in World 1, 1. I was like, whoa, what is even happening? And then I like threw a fireball at him and go, oh, that's right, you need to do a bunch of fireballs to wipe him out. So I did, and then he disappeared, and I was like, okay, this is good.
I love it, man. Yeah, I really, I was streaming it the other night, and I'm like, one more. You die, you're like, I just want to do one more, and I did that whole thing.
It's just like
and it's great.
99
and all the levels are as you remember them. It's just like the enemies are being added on. So like all the secrets are there.
Yeah.
Like the 1-ups are all there. The hidden coin blocks and everything, like they're all there.
Yeah.
Which helps you get a bit of an edge. So it's like if you really know Mario, like you're gonna find those things. But if you haven't played, like if you were 35 or older, like you know where those things are. But people who are playing this for the first time like have no idea, and you probably won't find them, to be honest, because you're racing through.
Do you think 35 is the sweet spot number? I'm curious where they came from for that number at all.
Good call. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of wish that they would, maybe that the limited part is like if they would bring it up along to more, but
maybe they realized it was just putting too many. Maybe they realized it was going to put too many enemies on stages and mess things up.
Probably.
But not only that, the games are long as it is.
The games can be long. That is definitely like my biggest complaint is once you get to 5, you're not having as many people throw enemies at each other anymore.
Yeah.
There's only 5 people kind of like sharing that.
Yeah.
So I kind of wish there was almost like a multiplier at some point.
Yeah.
Where they, when you're down to the 5, then like every one enemy you hit sends like either 2 or 3 or whatever, like more than whatever's happening to make it, to accelerate things a little bit.
I wonder if that's the time when you want to start doing time or whatever. I don't know. It's definitely an interesting take on the game.